What's more? All right, let's see what we got here. All right. All right. Good morning, early riser. Give me a shot of water here. I got about 15 minutes I can talk. Again, good morning. This is Sports for Real. Coach Hall again. Did a lot of running my trap yesterday, talking about the Cleveland Browns and the Shedeur Sanders situation. And in doing so, I was revealing the unique situation that the Browns are in. It appears that the owner, Haslam, forced the team to draft Shedeur Sanders after everybody had passed on him and he reached the fifth round. Now, this guy is supposed to be a first-round talent, right? Well, if he's going to fall all the way down, why not take him in the fifth round? And you drafted a quarterback in the third round. I didn't say anything as an owner, but I might not like that. I might have thought Shedeur was actually a pretty decent player. So I'm going to force you guys to draft him. So when they draft him, it opens up a lot of possibilities. The most immediate possibility is the ability for Gabriel to battle it out with Sanders, and let's see who the best rookie is. It also forces the front office coach, the front office GM and staff to play or give the opportunity for Sanders to make the team. Why do I say force? Because if you drafted in the fifth or sixth or seventh round, you got a lot of third round draft choices are really just camp bodies. You're there so the team can have a decent training camp against good competition, and then we're going to cut you and leave you to the side. And if you can actually play, then all the better. But since the owner is involved, it pretty much guarantees that Sanders is going to get an opportunity to play. So not only do you get a chance to see Gabriel battle it out with Sanders, you also get to see if the Browns have brain trust and can actually make good decisions. By that I mean, you as a staff say you wanted Gabriel and you didn't like Sanders. But if Sanders comes in and clearly outplays Gabriel, now the owner is going to look at me sideways because it doesn't look like I can make a good decision. Stefanski hasn't done so great since he's been there, so he's suspect. And if Sanders, his non-pick, comes and outplayed the guy that I think is going to be the player, then that's more bad news. And I think that look on their face in the press conference, maybe they didn't say it, nobody thought about it, but the reality of it is it opens the door for them to be scrutinized and possibly out of the door before the season ends. Very possible. So that is a rugged division they play in, and if the quarterbacks ahead of them don't pan out and you play Shedeur and he outshines all of them, big problem. But that's just something I brought up and nobody else has said, but keep that in mind. But today, real quick, I just wanted to talk about the Shannon Sharpe situation. I'm not really big on what's taking place. Most of it is appears to be speculation where you want to blame one side and the other side is getting the pass. Well, I don't want to get into that because like everybody else, I don't have a whole lot of evidence and proof to the contrary to who's doing what. But what I'm tripping on is the fact that some ESPN employees are saying that they want to walk away. JC, how you doing, man? These ESPN employees, they say they want to walk away. Now, this is what's leaking from the ESPN building. But the question is, are they being hypocritical or they really mean what they say? Well, I'm not quite sure yet. And I wouldn't name names again because it's not sufficient. I don't have sufficient evidence. But based on some of the things that's happened before where scandal is against somebody that's broken out and they reported on it, one of the lead people in that group was Malik Andrews. I thought I was going to change my tune on her because I watched her with Kendrick Perkins and on the basketball show, and she seemed to be getting along pretty chummy. But if you remember a couple of years ago when that Emeka, the Houston coach, now I can't think of his name, he got into that scandal with the Celtics organization when he was running around with somebody in the organization, and when that happened, nobody blamed the person he was running around with. It was him because he was the coach. How dare he get involved in a relationship with somebody that's in the organization, even if they aren't married? Well, she was the lead attack dog on that. And I remember the program when they had Kendrick Perkins on and somebody else, and they were talking to him. And when it came time for him to give his take on it, she trying to cut him off, talking about what we're not going to talk about and what approach we're going to take. And I'm looking at her sideways. And it didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense about how aggressive she was being on that particular subject, which leads me to believe that she knew something. She knew something or was related to somebody in the situation, some kind of way that made her overreact from a non-journalistic perspective. And it didn't seem overly authentic to me. JC, what do you mean? What do you mean talking about? You said what? I don't know what you mean. What are you talking about, JC? No, we're talking about a couple of years ago when Emeka, Udoka Emeka, whatever the guy for the Celtics, he's now the coach of the Houston Rockets. He got into that situation in Boston, and she pretty much dressed Kendrick Perkins down on the program. And now here they are a couple of years later working together, and they seem to work pretty well. So I'm thinking maybe she's adjusted her stance because she's well known for coming out and speaking out against guys like Shannon Sharpe and the coach from the Rockets, the ones that look like her. Oh, that was Jay that wrote that, and I said, okay. But I don't think nobody's going to walk away from their job just because you did something. People do things that aren't great on everybody's job, but that doesn't mean you're going to quit because of it. Now, if you're the person that's been reporting over and over and over again about something that has been going on and you just can't deal with it and you got to report it and you can keep reporting it and nobody does anything about it, then I can see you leaving from that standpoint. And I don't think this is the case here. What you have here is somebody that's trying to extort, shake down the man pretty much, because there's no crime in an older man getting involved with a younger woman. If she's legal, what's the crime? And people are making a big deal about it, like they make a big deal about all these accusations that take place. And then after a period of time, after everybody got these sensational headlines, it just goes away. Case in point, Kobe Bryant. Nobody knows what really went on in that situation, but the immediate reaction from the Kobe Bryant thing was he lost all his sponsorships. He lost a whole bunch of money in that fiasco. Now, one thing he didn't lose was his job. So he went to work and he kept on playing, and he wasn't worried about all those extra endorsements because he's making plenty of money. But then once he got to be playing at a higher level, then time went on. They forgot all about that little thing, and all those endorsements started to come back. So that leads you to believe that all these companies, they're hypocrites as well. They'll cut you loose in the interim, but it won't be long before they come back to your side if you're a player that plays well. And in Shannon Sharpe's situation, the man seems to be moving on as if nothing has happened. I've seen him on the Nightcap show, and I've heard some of the comments he's made, especially about the Shedeur Sanders thing, and it makes a lot of sense. He does not give the impression like he's overly concerned about what's taking place. He is confident that, to me, it seems that he's confident that this thing is just going to end up on the right side in his favor. That's where it appears to me. But losing this $100 million deal, that is a tough one to swallow for anybody. And he may get an opportunity to recoup some of that deal, but you can just imagine that the $100 million he was going to get, it's not going to be no more than half that, if you ever get an opportunity to recoup what he's lost. And it's a tough one to swallow, but that's the thing that you deal with when you're in that kind of situation and people know you're making that kind of money. They're going to come after you. And he's not going to be the last one that happens to. And that's pretty much all I can say about that right now. But the fact that you're talking about walking away from your job, all kind of stuff goes on that are far worse than being accused of something like that. That happens on a daily basis within a 10-mile range of everybody. So if you're going to get outraged about the things that happen in society that you want to quit your job, then most of us, we won't have a job at all. All right. Jimmy Pickens says, can anyone be the reference on my job application? Well, I'll leave that one alone, man. But yeah, that was a good one. I like that. All right. I asked the question, do you think the employees will walk if Shannon returns? Most of you are saying no, and I agree. And they just being hypocrites because maybe they're trying to hide something themselves that they don't want to be known. And it's just not a very realistic thing to put out there, because if you're going to walk, you're going to walk. You wouldn't have said anything about it. And then when people confront you about why you walk, then you can let it be known why you walked. And that is the only thing that somebody that can believe something like that. Jimmy Pickles, what's going on, man? Yeah, you the one talking about the application. What kind of job you looking for, man? Plenty of jobs out there. Come down to Jacksonville. They building warehouses left and right, man. And if you can't get a job wherever you are, come to Jacksonville. If you can't get one here, then you can't get a job nowhere, man. Stephen A. says he doesn't know what's going to happen to Shannon because Disney is involved and they don't tolerate sexual assault charges. If he's found innocent, he probably will keep his job. Well, let me ask you this, JC. And the Shannon Sharpe aside, if you're guilty, not guilty, and you're good at your job, and your job is affected by this, and you're taken to the ringer, and they run your name all through the mud, and you're found not guilty, and everybody on your job, or before you're found not guilty, everybody on your job looking at you sideways and distance themselves and everything else. And once you found not guilty, they say that you could come back. Would you go back? I wouldn't, because you show me, who you really are. You guys are treat me like I'm like the man is guilty, and you treat him like the worst criminal. And then once it's found that he's not guilty, then you want to welcome him back as almost if it didn't happen. That's kind of hard for somebody to go back to. And I've seen it happen in public jobs where people have been accused of something, went through the character assassination in the media and everything else. And once it came out that the person was lying, and they offered their job back, and they didn't come back. Why put yourself in that situation, especially in the same place? Might as well move on and do something else, and that's what most people tend to do. Smoke a crack rock on stream. Yeah, okay. I'll let you have your fun. But I think he will go back for that 100 million, but it wasn't with them. He had he's got some kind of network, and I don't know how that works. I'd like to find out how it works, because that might be an approach to take for the future. But he has some kind of network, I believe it's The Voice, he calls it, where he has a podcast network, different people speaking under his platform, however he has it set up. And that thing was going to be part of $100 million deal where he's dealing with certain people that involve that Shay podcast he has. All that's tied in together. And that's what that was about, not necessarily ESPN. As far as ESPN itself, he doesn't really need them. He said, I heard him say out of his own mouth, when he did that interview with Cat Williams, he made more money from that one video than he made his entire NFL career. Now, the man played 14 years. He made an awful lot of money in the NFL. Went to the playoffs, which was even more money. Won the Super Bowl, even more money. To have one video outdo that, he's not hurting for money. And another thing I heard him say, he said when he first started playing, he got his money set up where 20 years after he stopped playing, he wanted to have the same lifestyle as if he was still playing. He said he did that. So He's got piles of money in different places that he don't need an ESPN. But what he don't want is his name destroyed in the media. So if he's going to come back, it's to prove to the people that you had me all messed up, and you can't just run my name through the mud. He wouldn't be coming back for the money because it looks like he's got that part of it taken care of. According to his words, he's got it all taken care of. And I just don't see him worried about having to work for ESPN. It's just a matter of clearing his name. All right, Cavs going to the finals? No, you still can't play with Boston. The only hope you got of beating Boston is Boston can't hit those 3-point shots. Yeah, Garland and Mitchell. Mitchell tends to come and go when the spotlight gets hot. So I like the way they're playing right now. Garland's going to come back, but you can't expect them to beat Boston. It might take them to 7, but in the end, I think the Celtics are going to get them. The team I'm concerned about, that you should be concerned about, Saucy CXP, I think that's how you pronounce it. I think you should take a look at OKC. They've been the best team all year, and they set the tone for the playoffs when they ran off Memphis in that first game. Now, of course, they're not going to beat everybody like that. And I think to beat OKC, you're going to have to stop Gilgeous from getting his 30-plus points. He's scoring 30 or more, they're going to be hard to beat, man. I'm not saying that they're going to win it, but I think I'm looking at the OKC Boston finals, not the Cavaliers. Cavaliers are going to have to play over their head to beat the Celtics and hope that the Celtics are off. Jihad, how you doing, man? I see the Browns got rid of Shador. You're not getting suit up. You say the Browns getting rid of Shador? No, I don't think they would get rid of him already. I got to check on that. I think that the Browns, they may cut him in camp. And if he does get cut in camp, it would be for the practice squad. Well, when you cut somebody in the NFL with the hope of putting them on the practice squad, that is a window where the other teams have an opportunity to pick him up. So if he is cut, he's going to get picked up, if not traded before the season start. Yeah, I'm going to look it up, man. But as far as midnight last night, I hadn't seen any reports on that. But I'll be sure to get back with you later on today, Jihad, about that particular situation. All right. Somebody, JC, he's still doing sports podcast. Yes, he's doing Ocho Cinco, that nightcast. Sharpe doesn't need ESPN. Like I said, if he comes back to ESPN, it's strictly to clear his name. And his YouTube job, he interviews the different stars. Yes, but I think that that may decline a little bit because of what's going on right now. People don't want to be attached to this PR nightmare that he's going through right now. But he's going to get beyond that, just like Kobe did. And in the meantime, people are going to distance themselves. What you're going to see now is the bank of interviews he had lined up, already produced. Those be the ones coming out up until the point where things start to turn around. But still, with his 2 podcasts, he doesn't really need ESPN. But he needs to branch out a little bit more because mostly he's been talking to comedians, and it's usually the same track. And I think he should shift gears from that. He's actually done that with talking to guys like Terrence Crawford. So Sharpe's going to be fine. He's just got to wither this onslaught. All right. Yeah, but Jihad, I want to check on that for you. Running out of time here. I see this as a subject we could talk about a good while. So how about this? I'll come on about 5:30 this afternoon, and we can continue talking about this situation with Shannon Sharpe and get into the big game today with the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Can the Lakers stave off elimination? Those young guys over there in Minnesota are hungry, man, and they're going down to L.A. for some straightening. But the question is, can LeBron, with those old legs, if he has to, play another full second half under all that intense pressure by the Timberwolves? I don't think so. So they're going to have to come up with something or come out blazing early and try to jump out on the Timberwolves and get a lead. You know, the Timberwolves have a tendency to crack, just like Memphis. If you hit them in the mouth a couple times, they'll back right up. But if they're able to stay in for a couple rounds, they're going to cause you a problem. So we'll see how that goes. But again, let me check this poll. Right now, 71% of you saying no, that these employees are going to quit And I agree. They just running their mouth being hypocrites because if you pull back the layers on their lives, they're probably doing things far worse than what Shannon Sharpe is doing. But what you do behind closed doors, that's your own business. But when somebody starts to complain about it or put you out there because you spurned them, I don't think that's right either. But if you did something wrong and you really violating people, then you ought to be punished for it. But just to be accused of something because you're mad, I got a problem with that. And I think a lot of times these accusations, that's what you get. Then other people start piling on trying to get more money. You see that in the P. Diddy case. Now somebody come out from 10 years ago with Shannon Sharpe talking about she violated her too 10 years ago. So now you got two accusations going against you, and that leads to him losing this $100 million deal. But if he's guilty, he should suffer the consequences. But me, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon. I just want to see what the facts are. And when I get the facts, I'll tell you what I found and we'll talk about it from there. But anyway, that's my cue. I got to get up out of here, man. Appreciate you guys chiming in with me. Like I say, I come on this afternoon and we finish talking about this subject because it looks like a lot of people are interested in what's going on there. But you can bet these ESPN employees, nobody's going to quit their job because somebody else is doing something wrong. That doesn't make sense. If that's the case, nobody will have a job. So that's just my take. But anyway, I appreciate you guys chiming in, like and subscribe, and we'll talk about this afternoon. And I'll see you guys again in the morning. So until then, this is Sports for Real. I'm out.